Welcome to Building a Better Future, Voices of Change at UNIgreen, the podcast where we highlight the people shaping a more sustainable future. Today, we're talking about something that concerns all of us, climate change. You've probably heard about it in school, online, or in the news, but what does it really mean for us today? In this episode, we'll break it down in a simple, clear, and practical way. To help us better understand this topic, we're joined today by Rumyana Georgieva.
Thank you for this opportunity. I'm very glad being here with you today. My name is Rumyana Georgieva, and currently I'm a Chief Assistant Professor in the Department of Crop Production at the Agricultural University of Plovdив, Bulgaria. My teaching and research activity is focused on sustainable crop production and the agricultural performance of field crops in the conditions of the changing climate. Additionally, I'm part from the work package 6 of UNIgreen. We have developed the so-called green strategy, which focuses on initiatives and actions needed to align the UNIgreen with the EU Green Deal, the 2030 Agenda, and the Sustainable Development Goals. The green strategy aims to promote the green transition. Our work package is responsible for the tree planting initiatives and carbon footprint calculations. All changes raised by the climate change are affecting the sustainable crop production and our daily life. That's why the topic is very relevant and important to me, not only as a researcher, but also as a human.
Thank you for that introduction. Let's break it down simply. If you had to explain climate change simply to someone new to the topic, how would you describe it?
I will try to explain it in a very simple way. Earth has different climates depending on where you are. Places near the equator are usually hot, while places near the poles are very cold. Ocean currents and Earth's tilt also affect climate. Scientists have been measuring climate parameters like temperature and rainfall for over 100 years. Climate change means that the Earth is getting warmer over time. In the last years, the planet has warmed by about 1 degree Celsius, and if this continues, it could warm much more. This warming causes several problems, as for example, ice melting in the Arctic, rising sea levels and coastal flooding, stronger storms, heat waves, floods, hurricanes, changes in the rainfall that make the farming harder, spread of some diseases, damage to oceans, including increased acidity. Climate change can also make weather less predictable, which affects farming and the food supply. The main cause today is our activity, especially burning coal, oil, and gas. This releases gases that trap heat in the air, making the planet warmer. This is the so-called global warming. The global warming itself drives the climate change. Earth's climate has always changed naturally, but those changes usually happened very slowly over thousands of years. Today's change is happening much faster because of us, and we have to take measures to slow the process.
What's the difference between weather and climate? Because yes, it's confusing.
It could be confusing, but let me explain. Climate is sometimes mistaken for weather, but it is totally different because it is measured over a long period of time, whereas weather can change from day to day or from year to year. The climate of an area includes seasonal temperature, rainfall averages, wind patterns. Different places on the earth have different climates. As for example, the desert is referred to as an arid climate because little water falls. Other type of climates include tropical climates, which are hot and humid, temperature climates, which have warm summers and cooler winters. Weather is what you experience day to day. It changes very quickly, like rain today, sunshine tomorrow, or a cold morning. Climate is the long pattern of weather in one place and describes what the weather is usually like over many years, typically more than 30 years. In a very simple way, weather describes what is happening outside right now, and the climate, what is the weather usually like here.
Is it really too late to act for the environment, like we sometimes hear?
No, it is not too late, but it is urgent. Some changes are already locked in, like some sea level rise and more extreme weather, because the planet has already warmed. So we can't fully go back to how things were, but what we can still control is the change. What is still possible? We can slow down warming by cutting greenhouse gas emissions, for example. We can protect ecosystems and help the nature to recover. We can shift to cleaner energy and cleaner means of transportation. It is too late to stop the change, but it is not too late to prevent the outcomes. Climate action now still makes a huge difference, especially over the next 10 to 20 years. As individuals, it can sometimes feel overwhelming to address such a huge challenge, but we all play a role in our planet's health. Every small action we take in our daily lives can make a significant difference in the fight against the climate change. By making conscious choices, we can reduce our carbon footprint, we can conserve the natural resources, and we can help preserve the environment for the future generations.
Let's pause for a second and go a bit deeper. What are some real-life changes we're already seeing because of climate change?
We are already seeing climate change show up in our daily life in several ways. We can feel that it is getting hotter year by year. More frequently and more intensively, we are experiencing heat waves in many regions, which are making the summers longer, and it is dangerous. We see stronger extreme weathers like heavier storms, floods, hurricanes in some places, and longer droughts in other regions. We have already rising sea levels. The coastal areas are experiencing more flooding because ice melting and warmer oceans raise the sea levels. Ice in places like the Arctic and the mountains is shrinking, affecting the ecosystems and the water supplies. Hotter and drier conditions are increasing the size and the frequency of the wildfires in some countries. We are observing also changes in the nature because the plants are starting to bloom earlier. Animals shift their habitats, and some species struggle to survive in those new conditions. And the planet's weather pattern are becoming more extreme and less predictable, and these changes are already affecting us, the nature, and our daily life.
Why should young people care about this right now?
Young people should care about climate change right now because it will shape their future life. Climate change is already happening. We are experiencing more often heat waves, floods, wildfires. The decision made today will influence the future weather, the food prices, the water supply, and the safety. Younger generations will live with the consequences longest and will experience more of the long term changes. Youth movements have already influenced governments and policies around the world. What society does in the next 10, 20 years can still strongly change how severe climate impacts became. Climate change matters for young people because it affects their future, is happening now, and is something that they can help influence.
What's a common myth about climate change you'd love to debunk?
A very common myth is that the climate change is just a natural cycle and it will be solved by itself, for example, and we as humans are not responsible for it. While Earth's climate has changed naturally in the past, the current warming is happening much faster than natural cycles alone can explain. Scientists have shown that the main cause is our activity, especially burning fossil fuels like coal, oil, and gas, which release heat trapping gases such as the carbon dioxide. Climate change today is real, we can feel it, it is fast and strongly linked to our actions. It is not just natural change, and we have to take actions and save our planet.
Now, let's talk about solutions. What's one simple action people can take that actually makes a difference?
Small lifestyle changes, especially in energy use, travel, consumption, make a big difference in protecting the planet. Everyone can help fight the climate change through simple daily choices. The Sustainable Development Goals spell out how we can protect our environment and slow climate change. The possibilities for action at individual level at home are many. We can save energy by washing clothes in cold water, for example, and use less electricity, air dry clothes instead of using a tumble dryer, travel less by car and use public transport, walk or cycle when possible. Fewer cars means less air pollution and lower emissions. We can reduce the plastic use and bring reusable shopping bags, choose products with less or no plastic packaging, and use reusable items such as bottles, cups, straws, cutlery. We can change our eating habits and consume less meat, especially beef and lamb, because animal breeding generates more emissions. And we can add more plant-based foods at the table. We can cut food waste and only buy and cook what we actually need, and store and reuse leftovers in new meals. We can save water by taking shorter showers, fix leaking taps, turn off water while brushing teeth, collect rainwater if it is possible, and compost food waste. Small daily habits and how we use energy, travel, eat, waste resources can add up to a big positive impact on environment.
Do individual actions really matter, or is it all about big systems?
It's both. Big systems matter most, but individuals still play an important role. Most emissions come from things like energy, transport, industry. These are shaped by governments, companies, global agreements, like, for example, the Paris Agreement. So, large scale change is essential. At individual level, our actions still count because they influence those systems. What we buy affects what companies produce. For example, rising demand help make electric vehicle mainstream. Our vote and voice influence governmental decisions and can support stronger climate policies. Our habits can inspire others. When behaviors like reducing meat or flying less became normal, change accelerates across society. One person alone won't stop the climate change, but many people making changes and pushing for better policies can drive big results.
If the planet could send us a WhatsApp message today, what would it say?
I think that our planet would like to encourage us. I am imagining something simple, like, for example, I need you just now, not tomorrow. I don't need perfection, I just need consistency. I believe in you. Each single small step to sustainability makes me feel better. Keep on, you're on the right path.
Final thoughts. What gives you hope for the future?
There are several reasons for optimism on climate change because we can see that the progress is already happening. Clean energy is scaling fast. Solar and wind are now among the cheapest energy sources in many regions, and adoption keeps accelerating, especially in countries like China and India, for example. This makes it more realistic to replace fossil fuels. Global commitments are stronger than before. The Paris Agreement created a shared global target, and many countries and companies now have net zero goals, something that barely existed a couple of decades ago. Technology is improving very fast and quickly. We have advances in batteries, electric vehicles, and carbon removal. All this is making low carbon lifestyle more practical. Companies like Tesla, for example, show how innovation is turning ideas into real solutions. Public awareness and activism are growing. Different movements have pushed climate change into mainstream politics, increasing pressure on government and business to act. Scientists have shown that nature can recover if protected. Ecosystems like the Amazon rainforest and coral reefs show resilience when given a chance, and different restoration projects are expanding worldwide. Policies are starting to work. We have carbon pricing, renewable subsidies, regulations. We are not on the perfect path yet, but the tools, the awareness, the monument to address climate change are stronger than at any point in history. What gives hope isn't a single breakthrough, it is a combination of technology, policy, and public pressure, all moving in the same direction together.
A big thank you to Rumyana Georgieva for sharing their insights and helping us better understand this important topic. Climate change can feel overwhelming, but understanding it is already a powerful first step. And remember, if each of us takes action, even in small ways, it becomes a collective movement toward protecting our planet. So stay curious, keep learning, and keep engaging with these important conversations. Thanks for listening to this episode of Building a Better Future. Voices of Change at UNIgreen. Climate change isn't just a challenge, and see you soon for the next episode.